So how many times have I told y'all how mainstream networks work and how these media enablers around them work? So last week, I had Mark Fisher on the show, who used to be involved with the Black Lives Matter chapter in Rhode Island that's not affiliated with the actual Black Lives Matter network. And at the end of the day, he couldn't answer a damn thing. But he goes on Fox News, they have him on Fox News, Lawrence B. Jones interviews him. It's an absolute joke. But then New York Post picks it up, Mediaite, which covers the media site, picks it up. And so all of a sudden, then other folks start writing the story. Now, understand, Mediaite didn't do a write-up on our segment. They had a 3.5-minute segment on Fox. We had about 30 minutes, about 36 minutes on this show. They didn't write that up. They love writing up these other segments. They love talking about what's on Fox News and CNN and whatever Megyn Kelly has to say, but they rarely actually do black-owned media. But I want y'all to see the difference when we talk about when and how mainstream media does these stories when you definitely don't see any sort of fact-checking. So just watch this for a second. Yeah, go ahead and pull it up.
Now the co-founder of Black Lives Matter Rhode Island, Mark Fisher. Mark, thanks so much for joining the program. This is my favorite story of the day because it identifies with what I've seen in the barbershop. All the brothers, for some reason right now, are turning tides right now. And I just wonder, what is the big reason? Now to the key swing.
Go ahead and go to it. Let's see.
Joining us now, the co-founder of Black Lives Matter Rhode Island, Mark Fisher. Mark, thanks so much for joining the program. This is my favorite story of the day because it identifies with what I've seen in the barbershop. All the brothers, for some reason right now, are turning tides right now. And I just wonder, what is the big reason?
I think personally, it's the duplicity of the Democrats, the hypocrisy. We're not stupid. The brothers are not stupid. We understand when someone's for us and when someone is not. And it's obvious that the Democratic Party is not for us.
Yeah, I can't.
Their policies actually strike at the heart of the black family and the nuclear family.
Yeah, so, you were a part of Black Lives Matter. You founded it there. And now you're saying, you're not saying the entire Republican Party, you're saying Donald Trump. So what is it about Donald Trump? Is it the economics? You noted the black family. What is it going to take for him to shore up this support amongst black voters?
Well, I just think that it's going to take information. A lot of people are misinformed. They don't really understand because they don't educate themselves on Donald Trump as a person and his history. But if they do that, and it's going to take, leaders, educated leaders, getting the word out there, I think that it'll happen on its own and it'll be organic because personally, I love the man. I mean, how could you not like a real man? How could you not relate to someone like that? On its own and it'll be organic because personally, I love the man. I mean, how could you not like a real man? How could you not relate to someone like that?
Yeah, he watches every morning, so I'm sure he's cheering as you're saying this. We looked at some of the polls for Trump over Biden in the battleground states. In 2020, it was 8%. Now in 2023, he has 22%. And that's just not black men. So the election is right around the corner. If you had the opportunity to talk to the former president, I'm sure he's watching right now, what would you tell him?
Call me on my cell phone, man. I'll stop for Trump.
Mark, I'm fascinated by you. Why did you end up leaving Black Lives Matter? Or are you still affiliated with it?
No, I'm still affiliated with it. All day, because the thing about it is my message that I preach and that I tout is unity. It's a message of unity. It's unity driven. I want to bring together all the marginalized groups. For
a panel here. The reality, Reese, we know the game that folks play. And as I said, you didn't hear a single policy brought up in that whole conversation. All you heard was a bunch of mumbo jumbo and Lawrence B. Jones fanning out because a black dude from Rhode Island who is affiliated with the Black Lives Matter chapter there all of a sudden said he loved him some Donald Trump.
Yeah, I mean, he's auditioning for maybe HUD secretary under Trump 2024 because obviously Trump doesn't feel like you need to be qualified to be in that position as long as you're black. I mean, it's really ridiculous and absurd to try to paint a person who is facing 91 counts on multiple state and federal local charges as a person of character is absurd. We've seen how Donald Trump has acted reprehensibly for decades now. Like, this is just straight up bullshit. And he's just being a buffoon and a black foot soldier of white supremacy, hoping to get a check out of it. But it don't seem to be upgraded too much. His background ain't looking any better. He ain't got a better camera, better wardrobe, nothing, Chad. Like, if you grifting, you still in stage A of grifting. You need to be getting a little bit more money up front before you sell this much of your soul, homeboy, because we ain't buying it, and the Republicans ain't buying it with enough money.
The thing here, Lauren, is you look at some of these other people. That fool Officer Tatum, he been running from me for years. Candace Owens been running for years as well. Again, the people who don't know, it's easy to be duped by these dupes. But when you sit here and walk them down and you walk them through the facts, they can't answer any of the questions. So what they do is they try to be loud. They try to throw out bumper sticker phrases, and they try to go with the plantation language and thinking that's what's going to sit here and push somebody back. And I'm like, no, we're not going to fall for it. And I've had other people, Lauren, say, man, I don't know why you had them on. I said, because you have to expose stupidity so people then understand what the real game is.
Yeah, I really think that when we look at these people, obviously we're going to have several episodes of this. We already had the Sexy Red episode. Now we're having the Mark Fisher episode. I'm sure we'll have some rap star that the Republicans, we had the Kanye West last cycle. Oh, Kanye West is running for president. I mean, and this all comes from the fact, unfortunately, that the powers that be in right-wing media think black people are stupid. That's what this really is. They think black people are stupid. They think if you throw a rapper in front of us and the rapper tells us to do something, we're going to do it. And there's absolutely no evidence of any of that. There's no evidence whatsoever. The two biggest, most loyal voting blocs of the Democratic Party currently are black women followed by black men. It's been that way cycle after cycle, and it will be that way again next year. The question will be what the level of intensity of that turnout will be.
Welcome back to Breakdown Friday. I think they think we all stupid. I believe these folk think we are all stupid. And we're going to get into that today. Welcome back to Breakdown Friday. Once again, I'm Joseph Ward. Both of my buddies are under the weather, but Professor Carl Tone Jones and Patrick Irvin are here. I appreciate y'all being here, even though both of you are under the weather. So I really love y'all, gentlemen. I appreciate this.
No doubt, bro. Yeah,
and
you're right.
And all y'all, all our viewers, y'all send them some healing vibes as well. So, But yeah. But we getting into these politics once again. I saw this clip and I was like, oh, they think we all stupid, huh? Like, are y'all really telling us who we're supposed to vote for? Am I crazy, gentlemen? Or are they telling us who we supposed to vote for? And I'm just not just, this clip is just the conduit, but both sides, especially are talking to black people, and they're telling us who to vote for. They're not telling us to make informed votes. Both sides are telling us who to vote for. And I don't know about y'all, but the us's and we's over here, we're not standing for that. And we're not going to keep our mouth closed on that because we believe in people making informed votes. Do your damn research and make a damn decision on your own. But this is what we're getting into today. So, Patrick, I want to start with you, man. What are your overall thoughts on this clip we just watched?
Well, the beginning was silly because Roland Martin is trying to play the black anti-media card to drum up attention for his channel. Yeah, we yeah. We're not going, bro. So the beginning was silly. The middle was silly because he's right. Like, Buddy didn't really answer any questions about his thoughts on policy. But again, we this far out. We're a year out from the actual elections, roughly. Around this stage, everybody's policy is usually a kind of a bit fuzzy.
Yeah.
They just kind of experimenting with shit. They weren't throwing a bunch of shit at the wall, seeing what stick. But Trump has put out some policy positions where if you wanted to have a legitimate conversation about policy regarding Trump and Biden, you could have those discussions. You just have to understand that those discussions at this point are probably meaningless because the policies positions that they're at in 6 to 8 months could potentially be a whole lot different from where they're at right now. So, we go there. I think this is another failure of Democrats to understand that narratives and stories supersede facts. When that man said, this is what we're hearing in the barbershops, which was a lie. Yeah, most of the dudes in the barbershop, they ain't talking about no goddamn election, especially not a year out from the fucking election. That's not happening. It's not happening. Most of the dudes in the barbershop ain't really like, do you realize the NBA in-season tournament is going on right now? Do you realize there's football going on right now? Do you realize between football and basketball, there's no room in the barbershop for a presidential election next year? It's not happening. I'm not buying it.
The only thing is room for is somebody bringing up Trump and people being triggered at the sound of the word Trump.
Right. I mean, it's more likely that a conversation about the thickness and the poke out factor of coming up than a conversation about Trump and Biden in 2024. I'm just like, let's keep it a buck there. But I think it's still a failure of Democrats to understand that stories and narratives supersede facts. The dude saying barbershops and the other dude saying that's a man's man, I love the guy. That means more to the average person than any of the facts you can spit out because it's relatable. They understand it. They understand his position and they don't have to think about it. And to her making the point, they trot these rappers out as if we listen to them. We do.
I'm gonna get on her ass. So.
Like, lady, what are you talking to? We do listen. That's why they keep doing it. White people are not stupid. When stuff stopped working,
who are doing it? But who are doing it? Who is the party that are consistently directing rappers towards the black community? Who is the party? Because I know it ain't the Republicans.
Well, and this is where we get into the dude spoke to the duplicity of Democrats, which I agree. The Democratic Party is very duplicitous. The answer is not the Republican part. Like, so y'all been smiling in our face and slapping us on the back of the head. So we don't fuck with y'all no more. We just gonna fuck with these other people over here who will openly shoot us in the face with a gun. Like, there's a third option. You could not fuck with either. That's what that means. I'm just saying, if I got to choose between somebody beating me up and somebody shooting me, I would rather choose neither and kind of do my own thing. I'm on that note, because there's a lot to be said about this clip from both sides of it. Because to be clear, Roland Martin and his panel, they didn't do anything but slang insults and all this other. Like, they didn't really speak to no policy positions either.
That's part of my notes.
So we got a lot to talk about if we want to get into it. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's fucking Roland Martin, man. If he could be on Fox News right now, he would be, in my opinion.
Back on CNN, yeah, we know it. We know it. We know it. PC, man, what are your thoughts, my brother?
Well, that's what he's actually petitioning for right now. He's auditioning for a role back on these major media networks, but the shaming don't work. So the shaming only works when you're talking about black men in our community. The shaming doesn't work when you try to shame these people, saying you need to have somebody, you need to have black media. They're like, all right, then nigga, go ahead and build it, which is what you should be doing. But
Then
you
get
know,
mad at the other folk because they're not doing what you should be doing.
hey, listen, man, the children always go to their parents when they want something. So,
True.
children don't feel power.
Touche. Let me say touche.
Oh,
You can't say it right. Touche. All right.
you know what I'm saying? So they typically have to go to mom and dad for like permission for shit. So, but all right, Pat, I didn't mean to trigger you. but, but listen, man. Dr. John Henry Clark said it back in the 60s. Black people, you have no friends. So this whole notion of slob knobbing for Donald Trump is ludicrous. That was like man crush. That was a little bit I don't know. Watching that. It's a little wild, man. Let's put it like that. It was a little creepy. But it was I'll suck you. It was one of those moments. I'm sorry, I'm trying to be nice here. But when I'm not feeling my best, man, that my patience runs a little short. But to he was right about the Democrats. Democrats are anti-black. They've been anti-black for the longest. Historically speaking, the Democrats were anti-black. They used to be the Dixiecrats.
Mhm.
So, black people didn't mess with them. Black people historically in this country were the party of Lincoln, which was Republican. Even though Lincoln hated black people. So, when you look at our stance, we're not. It shouldn't be one of these things where it's either other. Like you said, Joe. Black people have got to be in a place to create and generate their own policy, our own policy. And therefore, you have to actually start doing, because we do live in America, you actually have to start doing what people do when they want to build capital for the laws and policies they want for. If they want politicians, they buy them. We're the only
Yeah.
people that still won't pay for what we need. We'll pay for what we want, but then we'll beg for what we need. So now you when you put yourself in that position, you don't operate from a place of power. Then you get sucked up in a power vacuum. And that's what we're doing politically. So just like black people went out there and made it their business this last election, to allow scare tactics to force black folk to vote for Joe Biden. Right after he got elected, he said, "Yo, I appreciate all your votes, but I think he was talking to the I think he might have been talking to the clergy, the black clergy, and there was a tape that was leaked when he said, "Yo, we ain't gonna be able to do nothing for y'all because we got a bunch of Mexicans coming in here." And so all that shit we said during the election, that was cool. I appreciate y'all. I got some fried chicken and some 40s for y'all to grab on your way out, the after party. But we're not going to do nothing for y'all. And he stayed true to that this whole time he's been in office. So who do black people really have to rely on? And I bring it up again because it happened here in Philadelphia during the Democratic convention. I believe it was in 2016 when Hillary Clinton was told by the Democratic chair to not engage any questions about Black Lives Matter, which we already know what that means, or things that benefit black people, anything tangible. So again, why should we choose either party? So when I watched the second part, when they reacted to the clip, and everything that the one sister was saying about the brother about grifting was actually on display as she was talking.
I mean, you right, but you doing it too.
Right. You need a better camera. How much money are they paying you? You know what I mean? Your background is kind of shoddy. How much money are they paying you? The things you're talking about, and the emphasis on voter intensity was their only concern. They're very crafty when see, and this is what I'm talking about, like black sellouts. You're very crafty at making sure that you don't offer black people any tangibles. So if you're not going to offer us any tangibles, then what's our what's our initial, like why should we want to vote for you? And you know what I'm saying, I just leave it at to the point where, because there's a lot more we could talk about. Black people didn't become Democrats until the Kennedy election. Prior to that, they were Republicans in this country. I don't think either party satisfies or serves the black community now. Pat said it one way. I'm gonna say it another way. You go to the Republicans, they're gonna kill you. They're gonna levy the kill shot on you. They're gonna hit you with one swift blow. Democrats are like the death of 1,000 cuts, and we have still in all these cities that we've seen, major cities where black people make up a nice sizable part of the population. You have not seen any significant gains for black people in those cities. Often you see a lot of those black communities that were turned into ruins, and now the people that are in those cities are being pushed out into what we call shrinkage gentrification. So they're pushed into smaller the livable conditions, and the livable places and spaces are smaller. They're over policed. Well, now they're not over policed because the cops don't do shit now. But but the poverty in those places, because there are fewer resources to go around. And so now you have zombie apocalypse going on in those areas. So, as a matter of fact, man,
Hey.
the only thing that Joe Biden did for the black community since being elected was send a get high kit to those neighborhoods so people would have more effective and efficient ways of smoking crack, using meth, and injecting heroin. And I'm not bullshitting. Look it up.
Hey, man. When I first saw the clip, the first thought that went through my mind is, this is why it's so important for people to really be informed about who they're voting for. Don't go into them goddamn voting booths with your emotions. Leave your emotions at the house. Don't nobody care about how you feel about the candidate. What do you think about this candidate based off of their policies and their history? I don't care about how you feel.
Yeah. And I don't mean
Huh?
Yeah. Just real quick. The reason why we do this, because that's what black people have been programmed to do since the inception of the black church, the Southern Baptist Church, Methodist Church. And that's what black people have been designed to do for centuries.
That's why I'm
lean on emotion. I know. I just threw that in there.
Yeah, I know, but that's why I'm verbalizing it, because I want you to hear me say that. We're too emotional about the way we vote. So we're literally watching a video of a group of black people who are mad at two other black men because they want to vote for Trump. But it's okay for them to vote for Biden, but they mad at Buddy for voting for Trump. And I'm sitting here trying to figure out, like both of you just said, why should we vote for either party? What has either party done in the last 10 years to earn one single vote from a black person? What have we gotten for our votes? What has, because you know what, and I'm tired of having this conversation with grown people. I'm tired of having this conversation of, they say, well, we voted for this particular person. And I say, why? And they give you a half-ass answer. And then I follow up with, well, what did black people specifically get for our black vote that we specifically voted for this purpose? Well, the president can't specifically do nothing for a group of people. Then I give them 3 examples. Then I give them examples of the president doing specific things for specific groups. And they say, well, black people can't, the president can't do nothing for black people. No, it's not that the president can't do nothing for black people. It's black people aren't doing anything for black people. You said it, PC, you said it, Pat. You got to buy your votes. You got to buy your candidate. This is a game. You got to play the game. And you buy, if we put our money where our mouth is and vote it as a block, smartly, not just show up and emotionally vote as a block, because we just, like the lady said, they already know, the Democrats already know that the black folk, majority black women and majority black men just gonna show up and vote Democrat. They already know that. But then after you say that, well, if you really believe that, why are we having this segment?
Well, so because, and I want to go back real quick before anybody says it. Yes, all 3 of us are aware of the Southern strategy. We're all aware of the parties flip-flopping and Ronald Reagan and not Ronald Reagan. What is his name? I am not a crook.
Nixon.
Yeah, Nixon. We're all aware of the Southern strategy. So before anybody launches that in the comments, we know. Doesn't change the facts that have been presented, which are that prior to the 60s, the Democrats were the Dixiecrats.
Malcolm X
We
said
get it. The Southern strategy happened. The party switched. It doesn't change any of the facts that were presented earlier. It just gives reasons. But the facts are still the facts. So I wanted to say that. Because every time somebody, unless you bring up the Southern strategy, people use that as a way to disarm what you just said.
Yeah, nah. That ain't
So
yeah.
I want to preempt that.
Yeah. So go ahead.
No, I wanted to say too, Joe, I agree with what you're saying. I think one of the things black people have to acknowledge is this. While we are living in a time of resource scarcity right now, which is not really agreeable with the years and the centuries and the thousands of years, really, of biological programming that we have, we still have to take heed to those thousands of years of biological programming. We grew up in a time period, we developed socially early our cultural programming during a time period where resources were not scarce. When resources are not scarce, you don't measure yourself by resources, you measure yourself by status.
Yeah, individual status.
Right. Black people have carried that forward through the millennia, through the thousands of years into our current environment, which is why we don't value things like facts, figures, resources, things like that, as much as we value status, feeling good. We feel things out. And so when you say we need to stop going in the booth and making election decisions based on how we feel, we're not capable of doing that. That's not who we are as a people.
I see. Well, all the elections since I've been an adult have showed that.
Well, all the elections since black people have been able to vote. The difference was back in the day, it was easier to feel right about it because there was a clear cut. Nowadays, it's not a clear cut.
Yeah. But I want to say this before I forget. Also, like the disingenuous of the last lady talking about the rappers being used by the Republican Party. So, lady. Well, first of all, did the Republicans bring out Kanye, or did Kanye bring out Kanye?
Well, I think, honestly, I do think that was a part of the Republican strategy. But what I say to that is, point me to the historic elections where Republicans have trotted out black celebrities to champion their causes. That's typically a Democratic strategy.
I'm just saying, didn't Joe Biden interview Cardi B?
Hillary Clinton had Mary J. Blige.
How you gonna sit there and act like this is a Republican move where who for the last couple elections been putting out music video? Who put out the bounce your booty to the poll stuff? Then the Democrats put that out.
Matter of fact, Joe Biden actually had a song written and performed by two very prominent, very famous top 10 battle rappers during that election year. They caught a lot of flack in the battle rap community for doing that. But yeah, Charlie Clips and DNA. Charlie Clips from the Wildin' Out with Nick Cannon, him and his little brother DNA did a go to the polls and vote for Joe Biden whole music video.
No vote. They say vote for no vote or something. That was another little crazy little video that they put out. But then remember, Joe Biden was on the Breakfast Club telling black people that if they don't vote for him, they ain't black. He was on a hip hop platform talking about that. So let's not be disingenuous and try to act like this just one tactic. Like, no, historically, the Democrats do this.
He put his finger in Charlemagne's face and said that to him.
Yeah, they say it was joking, but inside of every joke is an element of truth.
Ain't no joke to me. I mean, you go back to the Maxine Waters validate Meg Thee Stallion for WAP.
I'm just saying.
You know what I'm saying? First of all, we can go back to Bill Clinton playing the saxophone. Talking about he was the first black president on Arsenio Hall show. They've always pandered to black people using entertainment.
Well, and even to that point, because I'm coming up. We coming up during that time. The two main things I remember from that they were drilling home to us about Bill Clinton was he smoked weed and he played the saxophone.
And he got jobs in the White House. Well, can we say that?
I was going to say, and that was part of it.
And so they was like, Bill Clinton is a black man.
All the most derelict, derogatory things you can talk about as a man of any stature, but because he's bereft of any of those qualities, that made him a nigga. He was a nigga.
Vote for him. Right.
Yeah, man, that nigga can play a mean sax, can he? You know what I mean? He's a pimp. Bill Clinton's a pimp. And the 94 crime bill went right by as we was doing all that shit. So yeah.
and went right by, authored by Joseph Biden.
Sponsored by Joseph Biden.
So yeah.
But I just think that first and foremost, if you look at global policy and American policy globally, you look at the standards and conditions of living over the last 30, 40 years, it really didn't matter who was in the White House. We still got the same BS policies that didn't infringe any benefit for black people throughout that time. They're basically two wings on the same bird, as my good brother, Professor Griff, would always say. So if there's two wings on the same bird, then their agenda is about maintaining the institution of the presidency. When you maintain the institution of the presidency, it's about fulfilling the task of white supremacy and moving it forward and expanding global dominance and maintaining the empire. Eminent domain. That's how they see the world. Manifested destiny. That's how they operate.
And if you want any part of this, you got to pay to play.
Yeah. I mean, we had a black president. It ain't changed shit for black people. And I know a lot of people are going to be upset about that, but look at your conditions.
It didn't.
How good it made you feel. Look at the conditions of your community and the way it went downhill.
It didn't change.
Right. And mostly because it goes back to something that we don't do. We don't want to take power. We just want to be power adjacent. That's why the Black Caucus doesn't stand for anything that will move the needle. The Black Caucus, United Black Caucus doesn't. The Congressional Black Caucus doesn't stand for any of those things. Anyway, go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Finish your statement.
So basically, it's like they'll create, like we were talking about earlier, policies, and nobody has a rigid policy. Well, being quite honest, even during the debates, the Democratic and Republican, the Republican debates, they don't really talk about things that change the conditions of the people that live here. They'll pick some arbitrary topic, like, well, what are your stance on uh, the wars going on around the world? Well, I believe that America should be diplomatic, blah 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 blah. But you're not addressing the fact that there's a war going on in your home country. You're not addressing the fact that you have an epidemic financially that's creating a homeless situation that is spread so widespread that now we're concerned that women and children are going to be out in the streets starving and no place to eat. That's that hasn't happened since the Great Depression. So, and even then, we were more of an agrarian society. People had like food in their backyards. People still had access to bartering and things of that nature, especially black people who didn't necessarily depend on the banking institutions like we do today. So when you think about what we need to do to compete just for black people to have something, well, first of all, we need think tanks. But that would require us to be able to sponsor something that didn't have, that wasn't branded with a jersey or a name on the back. That means that we will have to sponsor something other than the opportunity to see Beyonce performing, and we would have to sponsor something other than selling out the stadium to see a comedian perform. We would have to actually take our money out of leisure and put it into something that's going to actually have a benefit to our community. Um, Banks own skyscrapers, high-rise buildings in major metropolitan areas. Why do they need a high-rise? One, they get equity off the people that rent out those floors. But two, they have, like, if you have a 50-story building owned by a bank, at least 5 to 10 floors is dedicated to their lawyers, policymakers. They draft the policies. They create think tanks and draft the policies that are going to make elected officials beneficial to them. You can look at when Trayvon Martin was killed by George Zimmerman. George Zimmerman received a large donation from the group ALEC, which is one of the gun lobbies, one of the front running gun lobbies in the country. Well, where the fuck are our lobbies? We always have this thing where we don't want power, so we don't address those who seek power. So you have people say, "Why are y'all counting these people money? Why are y'all counting their pockets? You need to go out there and get it for yourself." No other nation functions like that. Other nations tax those people so that they can protect their nations. Those people feel obligated to protect their nations. They open up whole schools, synagogues, all types of shit just for their community.
But
I'm sorry.
They also used to working together as a nation too.
Right. And that's something we understand, that as black people, that is one of the, like, in our programming here in America, the Jim Crow effect, not the Jim Crow, but the Willie Lynch effect works for us because we can talk to it blue in the face. Niggas would rather debate us, and I'm calling y'all niggas, would rather debate us on this particular issue because can't nobody tell a nigga shit and the nigga can't tell me shit. But then rather than say, you know what, I see some of the points you're making, let's come together. We come to it from the standpoint of wanting to have a debate instead of saying let's have
be right.
Right. The need to be right. So we need think tanks to operate around our concern. Think tanks that go out, get data like we had at PAX. You know what I'm saying? We need lobbies so that we can actually, have a financial organization that's dedicated to lobbying politicians for whatever our causes are, things we want. Then we might want to go about and invest in super PACs so that we can actually have a financial incentive to get somebody to pass out to take our policies. Because like Dr. Claude Anderson said, you don't, if the politician ain't yours, then you rent the one that's there. Then but like this whole thing got us acting and moving in a way, like Malcolm said, we're political chumps. And all we give a fuck about is winning. But when we don't win, when the people we put in power win. So I land my plane.
So let me ask you all this question with all this being said, because we're talking about strategy and understanding numbers and power and how a group should operate when voting. So how do both of you think that the stagnated numbers in the Black population, as well as Black people supporting immigration, Black Democrats specifically supporting immigration, which other groups coming in, how do you feel that negatively affects Black voting power?
Ask that again. I'm sorry, I zoned out.
Stagnated Black population. The Black population is stagnant, according to the numbers.
Okay.
And Black people, specifically more so Democrats than Republicans, actively support immigrants coming in, other groups coming in. How does our stagnated numbers and our support of immigrant groups coming in negatively affect Black voting power?
Well, I think, and I want to go back to something PC said. This often, it's another one of those things that's often used to kind of throw an argument out. And it's the two birds or one bird, two wings argument. And I'm just trying to cut stuff off in the comments. We understand that there are slight differences between Democrats and Republicans in terms of outcomes for Black people. But when I say slight differences, hear me out. There was a study done in 2014, which was the last time it was done to my knowledge. It was one of the first and the official last time it was done to my knowledge, where they analyzed the impact of the parties on race relations in America. Black people, Asians, and Latinos were the specific groups they looked at. And they found that under Democrats, Black households gained, I believe it was an average of, I think it was less than $1,000 a year. And under Black Republicans, they gained, I believe it was something like $200 or $300 a year. So we're talking about households over the course of a year. I want y'all to think about that now. Over the course of an entire year, you and your house gained $1,000 versus $300. Now, yeah, we would look at that and say, well, I'd rather take $1,000 than $300. I would look at that and say, both of those are insignificant. For a household, the difference between $40,000 and $41,000 is insignificant over the course of a 12-month period. So I think that's what we're getting at. And I'm like, again, just cutting this off in the comments, because you hear people now, I hear people now referencing these studies as a statement. And while I know the study did say it was statistically significant, statistical significance and real world significance are two separate kinds of significance. All right. Statistical significance means that we can verify that this caused that, or this had an effect on that. Cool, we can. Real world means shit. Got it? Good. All right. So, to your question, I think one of the things that Black folk have to understand, I agree with everything PC just said about using the resources, the money to acquire politicians.
Right.
What we're seeing right now with the Democratic Party, excuse me, is, in my opinion, a direct offshoot of our failure to be forward thinking in terms of who we choose to support and why. The problem the Democratic Party is having right now is they're trying to represent too many damn people. The umbrella's too fucking big. They're trying to be the party for Blacks, Asians, Hispanics, women, LGBTQ, children, progressives, liberals. They're trying to be the party for like 15 different people. And all of those people have different views, different thoughts, different worldviews, different needs, different requirements. All of these, the bigger that banner gets, when you're looking at your percentage of the constituency, the smaller your percentage gets, the less power you have. Democrats don't need black votes no more.
Right.
We're
That's why I
being
asked the
honest.
question. That's why I asked that question.
Yeah, we've been replaced by the Hispanics. The battle now is not for the black vote. The battle is for the Hispanic vote. And the reason there's a battle for the vote is because at the end of the day, dollars, you can buy votes with dollars, right? But it's a lot cheaper to have them through ideology. If I can get you to lock into my party in such a way that I don't have to spend money to buy your votes no more, i.e. black people in the Democratic Party, I can divert that money to acquiring other votes. Because at the end of the day, I still need the votes to win. The money helps me get the votes. But if I can get the votes for free, then I can spend my money elsewhere.
Well, the Democrats, even though the Democrats do pander to black people, they already know, like the lady in the hat said, black people in mass, male and female, are going to show up regardless.
But they don't even pander, in my opinion. They give black people the regular ass tap. Good game, fam. It's a cordial, like a, hey, remember to do that thing.
I say pander because they give us like the bottom of the barrel of their campaign shit. Like, hey, we gonna make rap videos and
this is why I say I don't consider it pandering no more. Because they don't like, they stuff be like, now, like we look at the last Biden election, right? What did he really promise black people?
That you could be black?
Yeah, I mean, like, right. Like, at least Hillary Clinton kept hot sauce in her bag and talked about, she talked about some things that we knew she was lying about what she was going to do, but she talked about it. Joe Biden didn't even talk about it. Barack Obama basically said, I'm black. I don't have to do shit for you niggas. Yeah. Like, my presence is enough. He Jay-Z'd us. Like, so what are they promising? Donald Trump is the last president we've had in a number of years that legitimately promised something to black people, and we know what that was. He was trying to get the black vote. He was trying to get votes away from Democrats. We know what that was. But it was significant because it caught steam because black people weren't used to being talked to.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the fact that, like, people keep like, why is this stuff working? Nobody's analyzing that. The Democrats really don't give a damn. Why is this stuff work? Why are black men increasingly becoming Democrats, are increasingly becoming Republican, which the margin is small, but we're going to use their lingo, right? Mm-hmm. Why are black men increasingly becoming Republican? Well, you say, well, really, nobody's really answering that question and with any real intentions on finding the answers, because the black women we see are basically attacking and shaming black men for doing it. The black men we see are basically doing what this dude did, which is the 9 stages of selling your soul and selling a person. He checked all the boxes. Do your research. Just do your research. How could you not know the history of Donald Trump and love the guy? Like, I love the guy. I know his history.
But it was slurping Trump hard. That was so cringe. Like, you're a grown man, and come on, bro. If I was his daddy, I'd quit.
And in the middle of all that, do your research, know your history. He gave us no research and no history. I love the guy. How could anybody know Trump's history and not love the guy? I'm just saying.
That's my thing, because we're always concentrating on like stuff like immigration. We always concentrate on these little things because we want to be the people who are on the right side of history, but we're so fragmented as a group of people. This whole video was a group of black people who support the Democrats and a group of black people who support the Republicans, both saying some crazy stuff to try to convince black people to vote for the party.
But
it goes back to feelings. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Exactly.
PC.
Exactly.
No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say it goes back to feelings, right? Black people want to feel like they're on the right side of history. They want to feel like they're doing right by other people. They know what it was like to feel like nobody cares, so they don't ever want to make anybody else feel
Right.
like that again. What I'm saying is, all of this stuff is biologically programmed into us, not just from the last few hundred years, thousands of years of program. You go to black societies, you see it right now in African societies, all across the continent. Everywhere you get a group of black people that can trace their lineage to areas that had an abundance of resources, you have this happening, which is why when the motherfuckers that come from areas where resources are scarce, when they bump into those people, they usually win. They usually win because they understand the game. This shit is about survival. That tree might not be there tomorrow, so I need to have access to it today. We're looking at it and we like, it's always going to be another tree. I'm sorry. Go ahead, PC.
That was epic. But because it's a frustrating conversation.
It is.
It's
frustrating. Very frustrating.
We only deal with this shit during presidential elections. We don't deal with it.
That's what's even more frustrating about it.
We don't deal with it in the places where it matters, like our local, our local demographics, places where black people dominate the population. We don't look at it from those perspectives because the Asian community don't vote for nobody, and they just got a whole damn bill passed for them a few years ago. You know what I'm saying? The Jewish community makes up like 5% of the population, but you dare not say anything. I ain't gonna say shit because Joe, we need this channel. But
it's about you the Asians, the Jews, LGBTQ community have all done what they were supposed to do and acquire power.
There you go. And we like, swinging from the nuts of power. Hopefully we can milk it. But I ain't gonna get into that. It's graphic. But when I think about this, and I think about like we're immature, and they always go. And I know I keep saying that we're people who suffer from what is it called, arrested development. But that's what it is when you get into when you have to start shaming people. That means you're not sophisticated enough to mount an effective argument when you get into shaming people. That means that's basically your weapon of mass destruction. And you have to get to that because you don't have anything else. You don't have any other ability to be tactically proficient in this conversation. You have not done the research, or you already know what you can and cannot say, and you dare not cross that line. Either way, it shows our ineptness, the ineptness of and our ability to actually handle a complicated situation that will actually manifest a benefit for us. And like and I guess I gotta agree with Pat. Black people keep giving ground, and even if you go to Africa now, Africans keep giving ground. That's why it should be embarrassing than a mother for people to say there's a global competition to see who can get into Africa, and Africans are like, the door's wide open. Come on in. And I'm not saying that just because it's Africa, but it's here too. Our neighborhoods. Right now, you got a battle for who created hip hop. Now you got a battle for, just the bare minimal of things that we should have ownership to or we should have claimed. And then you talk about our community. I'm sorry, go ahead, John.
I was just gonna say, other communities find a way to come into the poorest black communities and make a whole lot of money. So,
that's a partnership with white supremacy.
Of course, but we you know our position of powerlessness helps facilitate that.
Well, yeah, because the politicians are white supremacists. I don't give a damn what color they are. They're a bunch of white supremacists. And this is why they do the white man's bidding. So they basically are this version of the Zip Coon dandy. You know, they dress up nice, but they basically do the work of the white man. And so the white man's hand never get dirty. But that's what happens in our communities because when you think about who, like for instance, the reason why you see so many abandoned businesses is because those businesses are attached to a lien. A high amount of tax dollars of money that's owed on those businesses that you would have to pay off to get into those places. Well, they tell the people, the residents here, that you have to do that. But they'll invite somebody from another foreign country or whatever to come in, they'll wipe the slate clean, give them tax abatements, and additionally, you know, give them $10,000 each based on tax treaty laws. And I had to learn about that because I went through the whole Federal Reserve income tax book to figure that out, and I couldn't find it there. But I went and I started researching tax treaty laws and how much money immigrants get to come to your country and get startup money. So when you go back into the whole notion when the Irish and the Italians and the Polish were coming here, and people said, my grandfather came here with nothing in his pocket. Then he established his dance studio. Oh yeah, he came here with nothing, but it was a fucking check waiting for him on this side of the border, this side of the water. It was a check, and also he got the ability to build that. Black people don't have that because black people were never meant to amount to anything in this country outside of servitude.
Right.
So, knowing your position, you have got to stop sucking on the nipple of the Democrats. And you have got to stop sucking on the testicles of the Republicans and start building your own power base. And it's not hard. The problem is we see us as niggas, and nobody trusts a nigga, especially other niggas. And so I'm not going to put that money into the pot to build that nigga because he might need a cheeseburger. Hold on, fam. That $5 came out of the damn budget. That's my money we're talking about. So we're not going to fuck with you no more. And we're going to launch a shaming campaign against you and just to ruin your reputation, even though that's probably the best possible leader of the bunch.
When you're a group of people with no personal esteem or no collective esteem, you're susceptible to all types of ills from other groups. And that has hindered us because we're always talking about building power for us as black people. But I think we really have to sit down and think about why aren't we doing these things? It's the programming. You have to understand the programming of how we were created to be this modern version of black humans, black people in America existing, especially the conditioning we received after slavery. You still have to keep us in check. You still have to keep us in our place. Now, it's on us to make ourselves into a power base, a power block, a group of people who are capable of taking care of ourselves. Because once we do that, like, the game changes. The world looks at us different. The world treats us different. Oh, you got to fight back. We got to respect you because you got to fight back. And right now, like you're saying, like both of you have alluded to, this whole conversation is we're just the go along, get along game. We're just we're the group that both parties and every other people know that you can do anything you want to this group of people. And the worst thing that's going to happen to you is you might get shamed on social media, but ain't nothing real gonna happen to you because these people don't have any real power. Because when it comes to times like this, the clip that we watched, black people are doing that. Hey, look, if you are a black person and you want to vote Republican, I just hope you've done your research. If you're a black person and you want to vote Democrat, I hope you've done your research. But what I don't like is either you're trying to tell us who to vote for, or you trying to tell us who not to vote for. And that's one of the main problems. Like, the most uninformed group of people consistently is us. And then going off the conditioning that we receive throughout our lifetimes, as far as when it comes to voting. We vote with our emotions and we vote for the popular person and we go with the flow. So many people have told me and other people in conversations, well, if you don't vote the way everybody else voting, you messing it up and you giving the vote to the other side and we can't vote for that. Well, who is we? Who the hell is we? When did we get together and decide who the hell we voting for? When did we get together and put all the information on the table and decide that this is the best candidate? Don't say we because you are Democratic. And then the older people I've had conversations with, who, when you have any criticism of the Democratic Party, their response is, oh, you must be a Republican. No, I'm a person with a brain. My mother, I don't know about you, but my mother and my father taught me critical thinking. That was a must in our house, critical thinking, think for yourself. My mom used to say, boy, if you had a brain, you'd be dangerous. Why? Because you ain't think about it, right? So we have to think, do our research, and stop being the same old, like, because we keep complaining, but we keep doing the same thing. Like, watch. In another 4 years, we're going to have another video like this to talk about. Watch.
I mean, we ain't got to watch for another 4 years. Just go back to 4 years ago.
I know, but, you know.
But, I mean, look, I'm going to say this. If anybody's trying to tell you who to vote for, don't listen to that person. They should be asking, because I'm not saying people shouldn't have political conversations. If they're trying to figure out if you understand the value of the vote, that might be somebody worth talking to.
Yeah, that's one thing.
And if you don't understand the value of your vote, you need to be in that. If you don't understand civics and how the American government works, you need to be in that conversation.
Most people don't.
But that's where I get into, like, anytime, like the whole Rock the Vote campaign. And if you
who put that together? Who put that together?
Right. We don't need to be telling black folk who to vote for. We need to be making sure that black people understand the way civics work. Once you teach people how the system works, you have to let them express in the system however they choose to, especially in the democratic system. That's the only way the system works. And I understand we live in a republic, a representative democracy, not a true democracy. But the fact remains, if people need to understand how the system works and the importance of their vote in the system, not just voting, but all of the ways that they interact with the system. Dollars, how you spend your money, all that counts too. That needs to be the conversation. And if that's not the conversation somebody's having with you, but instead they're trying to push you into voting for a particular candidate, walk away from them. Like, that's not a worthwhile conversation. Joe PC and I have political conversations all the time. I can't think of one time in the last 10 years where either one of these brothers has told me who I needed to vote for. And I haven't done that to them either. We have conversations about the impact of votes, the impacts of voting, the way the system works, how we can use the system to our advantage, how we can maneuver around the system. We've never gotten into, well, PC, you should vote for this person, for this reason. Like, we've never had that conversation, because who PC chooses to vote for is PC's business.
I mean,
my role is PC's friend. I'm sorry, I'm gonna cut it off right here. But my role is PC's friend and is Joe's friend, and the same role they have with me is to make sure that they understand the way the system works and the power they have in the system. And they do the same shit to me. Make sure that I understand that whatever I'm interacting with, I understand how the shit works and my role in it. And then from there, they trust me to be a grown fucking adult and make a decision that's best for me and the people that I have a direct impact on.
And not making Donald Trump the boogeyman that everybody's triggered by. Because, I mean, man, we got to stop that. We got to stop that. Stop making Trump the boogeyman and making excuses for Biden.
Oh, man, if Trump get elected, I'm moving to Canada.
No, you ain't. No, you ain't.
I just had that conversation earlier today.
No, you ain't. Because if you had the means to move, you would have been moved. Stop it. Stop it. But you cool with Joe Biden because you know, that's the death by 1,000 cuts. You cool with that? You cool with the backhanded racism? I don't know about y'all. I'm from the South. I like my racism in my face. Now, I'm not saying I'm voting for either. I'm not telling nobody who I'm voting for. But what I am saying is we got to start acting like just because it's the death by 1,000 cuts, that's a better version of racism than the in-your-face racism. Racism, period, white supremacy, period, is bad for us. It's bad for business for us. It's bad for living for us in any form, whether it's the form you like or the form you don't like. If you're supporting even any form of it, you support white supremacy.
Well, the lesser of two evils is still evil. So
You still supporting white supremacy.
yeah.
So yeah, but that's what we got to say about this. Be informed, be smart. At least the people who watch this, let's be informed, let's be smart, let's be cognizant voters. Let's be people who understand civics. Let's be people who make the best decisions based off the best of the information that we have. Leave your feelings at home. I know you ain't, but I'm going to say it anyway. Leave your feelings at home. Hey, Joseph Ward, Professor Carl Tone Jones, Patrick Irvin, FetLifeStation.com. Make sure y'all check it out. We do it how we do it. Catch y'all next Friday and check this next video coming.